Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Charlotte's YouTube channel. My name is Charlotte from Mombasa, Kenya, County 001. Today, I've just decided to talk about a narcissist. Living with a narcissist in the same house. Anyway, it's a bit difficult to explain who is a narcissist, but at least you do understand the characteristic of a narcissist. If you know the characteristic of a narcissist, that's enough for you. You'll be able to handle that kind of a person. But it is not easy, as I've said earlier. Living with a narcissist in the same house is not easy. Most people, they will end up break up because you don't understand him, you don't understand her. According to what he or she does, you'll be like, what kind of a life is this? But let me tell you the truth. It is not easy. If there is a life that is difficult, it's to live with a narcissist. Remember, a narcissist will always be right. You will always be wrong. You will always be accused of things you didn't even do. So if you have a small heart, that is a good reason for you to get out of that house and you will never look back. So living with a narcissist, it's not easy. If you live with a narcissist, you need to be very strong. Not only be strong, but you need hekima ya Mungu. Because it is only God who will give you the strength to survive in that house. That is what I keep in my mind, because I don't want to mention any names, I don't want to say any bad things about this, but I know I have an experience of living with a narcissist. And let me not lie to you. My house has been on fire almost every day. Quarrels for no reasons, fightings for no reasons. By the time I came to realize what kind of a human being I am living in, I was like, oh God, no, what am I going to do about it? Whenever you plan anything in your life, you tell him everything. Because remember, you are married. That is your partner for life. You always share everything. By the time you come to realize this guy is a narcissist, it will be too late for you. Why? Because whenever you share anything with a narcissist, maybe it is a good idea for you guys to grow, for you guys to move on with your life. Remember this, it will never go anywhere. It will never go anywhere. Instead, it will be brought down without you knowing what is happening in that house. So guys, this is an advice. If you live with a narcissist, you just need to be sharp. You just need to be very careful. And remember, that is not enough for him to bring you down. Because he always wants to be the top. You have a good idea, yes. You have energy, maybe to hustle and grow your life, that one, remember, it will go down. With some time, you'll find yourself, you're like, what have I done to deserve this? What is happening to my life? You'll be asking yourself so many questions without knowing what is happening. So these are the characteristics of a narcissist person, because he will never allow you to grow. Second, he will always accuse you of things you have never done. These are things that I don't know how they always create this, but whenever they explain to somebody else outside there, they will seem to be the people who are right and you are wrong. And it is very difficult for you to take it, for somebody who is there. He will also accuse you, because they will add up. At the end of the day, you'll be just there alone. If she has maybe 4 supporters or 3 supporters outside there, tell me, where will you be? It will be difficult for you, because the accusation will be just so many, and one after another. You start with this. If he will not accuse you of you are maybe a witch in the house, he will, after that, he will go to something else. Maybe that child you're carrying is not mine. You can imagine a big accusation that you cannot even hold it in your heart. You'll be just like, what is this? What is happening? Is this true? And how did it happen? And do you know what? At the end of the day, we'll be told to go for our DNA test, which you know very well that this child you're carrying belongs to your husband, and now he's asking you for a DNA test. That means it is very serious for guys. For that guy, he will be very serious about it, and you will never have peace in that house. So guys, I'm telling you this, before you get married, be careful. Know who you are living with. If you are living with a narcissist, my friend, you need to have a very, very cautious. Because if you're not going to be cautious, let me tell you something, you will have a very rough time. Because if you are that person of, maybe you have been accused, you are maybe having an affair with somebody else outside there, and you don't, I'm sure 100%, if you just hear that, you won't even wait, you'll just carry your things and go. By the time you come back again, you get another accusation. What will you do about it? So living with a narcissist, it's not easy, very difficult. You feel as if you don't deserve to live alone. Now leave alone that. You cannot. The third thing that I came to realize, you can plan with a narcissist. Maybe he comes back to his senses, and then you sit down and say, we are planning this in our life. Maybe you want to go and build a house, we want to buy this year, we want to do this. Let me tell you, those plans, you will end up with yourself. They will go nowhere, because you will plan, nothing is going to happen. He will always be asking questions, but what you plan is not going on. Nothing will grow. And at the end of the day, the same person you're planning with, if he is not on his sense, remember, the only thing that will come into his mind, it is you who is taking me down, Who is making me poor? Those are the accusement you are going to get. So sometimes I always ask God, then how am I going to handle this? Because I've reached in a point I cannot do anything. Not to make the matter worse. Let's say maybe you are going for a retirement. The retirement is just there, knocking at the door. You've done nothing. And that is the kind of life you are living. Guys, I need your help. What will you do? Where will you go? It is only God. To me, it is only God who is remaining, who can help me with this, because let me not lie to you. You are not working. You are just there. Maybe you are doing a small business. A business that cannot give you enough money even to cater for you or to cater for your child. The only person you are depending on is that narcissist. Tell me, how will you go on? How is your life going to be? Now, remember, you have been living with that guy for some years. You have been there for him for the, let me say, for the rest of your life. Because if I ask myself since I got married today at date, it's now almost 17 years. Yeah, 17 years. I'm heading to 18 years. Before it started, my friend, life was too good. But that was just a hidden agenda. By the time he came to remove his nails like this, nobody knew this is how my life is going to be. If I sit down and think about myself, the way I really wanted my life to be, the way I really wanted to grow myself, because I started growing myself immediately after school. I didn't just sit, but I had to do something just to make my accounts close. Believe me, I started, I was first promised to get a garage just to wash the cars and cleaning carpets. And remember, since I had some money I had already saved, because when I got married, I was working. So through that job, I used to save, and I had enough savings just to get somebody who was going to support me to do that business. I started by buying a machine, that vacuum cleaner machine. I ended up using that machine in my house, and then doing some small business just around the estate, because some people could tell me, just come and clean my carpet, come and do my vacuum my car. That is how I ended up. This thing of opening a garage or opening a cleaning services somewhere, it ended up just like that. So it was like, I've spent my money, I bought this vacuum cleaner. At least I was expecting this guy is going to hold my hand, at least to stand up and do something instead of working for somebody. I really wanted to have my own business, but that is how it ended up. And I've never asked for that again, because I was promised, and the promise, that is how it ended up. Nobody asked me anything. Nobody stood up and tell me, now that we have already bought this, now we are supposed to do. Nobody. It was the end of it. So if you are planning to grow, my dear, grow on your own. Or maybe You ask God for assistance. That is the only thing I will advise you, because I know God will never disappoint you. God is always there for us. He has never disappointed and He will never disappoint us. But if ask that person you are living with, please do, and he is a narcissist, you are at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because remember, you have wasted your money thinking you are going to do this, thinking somebody is going to help you this, that. No. And if he gives you money, let me tell you one thing. That money he gives you, he will ask for that money. Maybe you're supposed to go for shopping. That money will end up in his hands, like you are taking it back to him. Indirect. Because whenever he wants something, please, I've given you some money, so please, can you use that money? So guys, living with a narcissist is not easy. If you see me go to church, wake up very early in the morning, I know what I am doing. Because sometimes you are even afraid of taking his voice. He calls you, he gives you some tough messages. If you have pressure, you are going to fall down. Those nasty words from his mouth. So you feel like, I wish I couldn't take that phone. So most of the time I always ignore his phone. He has realized I always ignore his phone, and he has been talking too much about it, but I don't care, because I know what he talks in his mouth. They are words that can really hurt you. Those tough words, until you become, am I crazy, or what is going on with me? So you just need to know how to handle this, because it's not easy. My life has become so miserable. I had to start thinking, now what am I going to do? I tried to talk to one of my family member, my brother, and he was like, now you are in a tough situation and you need to be alert. You need to think very fast, because time is moving, time is running, and if you continue to just sit down and wait. And by the way, such kind of people, they have very sweet words. He can fool you within a minute. Within a minute, come back to you, ask you for forgiveness. Let me tell you, you are going to forgive him. By the time it reaches in the evening, the story comes back. The same story comes back. So he wants you to forgive and forget. But for him, it was just a ladder to climb to another level. Because he knows now you are there for him. You cannot move because you're forgiven. But I always say this. You should always be ready to forgive. But do not allow that person to take advantage of you. That is something I learned, and I'll keep it. Because what I know, this is happening in your life regularly. I am not growing. I've become stagnant in my life. The day I came to realize that it was too late for me, but I had to do something. God had to assist me in this, because I had to do it. I've been asking God always to bless my hands, at least to do something for myself, because it is not easy. Living with a narcissist, no, it is not easy. The earlier you find out, the earlier you can escape. But if he knows how to use his tactics and keep you under his box, my friend, you will never leave that house. And it will be too late for you. Now you need to use your brain. It's you to use your brain and ask God to give you the strength. Because one thing, you don't even know what he is planning, what he is thinking. So you're just there waiting. You might be a good person, eh? You say, oh, since maybe you find things are okay, you sit down, start discussing about what is ahead of you, such things. But at the end of the day, you are going to remain with your hearts, your wife. You are the one who is discussing with maybe him or your husband or whoever. But since he doesn't want to grow or to move on, what he wants is just complain. And he will always complain in the house throughout, and he doesn't even get tired. So I don't know what you will do about it whenever he's complaining. But nowadays I always find myself singing maybe Maria's songs or any song that just comes out of my mouth. That is whatever I'm going to say, just to keep him off. That is what I always do, because it has become too much in a way that you are like, you are getting confused. If you are weak, by the way, you are going to be confused. You won't be able to do anything. You will become desperate. So you need to be very tough. To survive in this situation, you need to be very tough and very harsh. Do not allow that person. Do not allow him in any way to overpower you. If you allow him to overpower you, that is when you will see you are going down slowly by slowly. But just be tough as you are and be a prayerful person. Because if you become tough, God is going to assist you. Let me not lie to you. He will assist you in this, because this situation is very difficult. And what I always know, God knows everything. God knows all the human beings that He has created. He knows them in and out. So it's not a big deal for you to worry too much, because if you worry too much, you will end up, your life will just end up. So if you have your two hands, ask God to give you something at least to help you out. Because if you're depending this Jama here to give you or to support you, my friend, you're dreaming. That is something which is there. You are dreaming, because it will never happen. Because He doesn't want you to have a good life, or to see you growing and you leave Him down here. That one will never happen. It will never happen. So if you know you are capable of doing something, get a place to maybe maybe if you have a family member who can support you, if you can take a loan and support yourself, do it as early as possible and make it a secret. Just tell him, I've been employed somewhere, I'm going to work. Keep yourself busy there, because what is waiting for you in the house, sometimes you'll be like, what? The fire is burning in the house, but what do you do? What do you do? You already have a marriage certificate. Will you tear it out? Will you turn it off? There is no turning back. This is a point of no turning back. You just need to move on. You just need to know how to handle this kind of a human being, because there is nothing like turning back. It's a point of no turning back, sincerely speaking, because it came at times I had a very big problem in this house, and I became so desperately. People were like, what is wrong with this woman? Because I didn't have anything. My son was still too young, so I had not yet started back to my work. I was still taking care of that boy because his nephew was not even in school. So things became so difficult for me, and I had to do something, but actually I didn't know what to do because I didn't understand what is happening. I didn't know anything about the narcissist thing that was inside my husband. Anyway, I had to learn. People told me that, there are some people who are like this and like this, and they started to check it out on YouTube, that is it, so that at least I can familiarize with what is happening, the characteristic of whatever is happening. And that is how I came to realize this guy is a narcissist. So it was a bit difficult for me. It was really, really difficult because it had reached a point where I was like, I'm not important in this family. And to make the matter worse, remember there is this two kids whom I find them in the house. So you can imagine when it reaches a point, this guy is like, now separate the family, because he always take them as so special. So he always take them and tell them, I'm telling you this because you're the only people I have. So remember, we are living like a family, but we are not a family. This family is separate and this one is separate. So when it reaches that point, it's a bit difficult. For any human being, it becomes a bit difficult because it reaches a point where instead for you, the mother, to be the head or to be the cook or to be in control of that house, now it's diverted to that, the other family. See? So it becomes so difficult, it becomes so desperate. To make the matter worse, when you are not working, that is when life becomes so difficult, because they are the ones to decide whether you will eat or not. And since the father has already spoken, we are living like this. Now, that is when, and remember, you're the person who has been taking care of that family. So it becomes a bit difficult. I always don't like to talk about it because if I really sit down and think wherever I'm coming from in this family, it's now 17 years. When I got married, these kids were very young. They were 10 years, let's say 10 years. Until now, they're 27 years. But the father is like trying to keep those kids under his arms. Always doesn't want to let them grow up. And it's like he has decided he will always just be there for them, forgetting that there is life and life. So it becomes a bit difficult because you are just there to be there, but in real sense, it's like you are no longer needed to be part of that family. So there's so many things happening, but I don't know how to explain this, because if you see such things happening and you have nowhere to go, you're doing nothing. Sometimes you just need to watch, and sometimes you're being treated like a maiden because you are unwanted. So people will cook and leave everything in that sink. The maid will come, do the cleaning. So, and if the same family is supporting it, what will you do about it? So guys, be careful to go and get married to. Life isn't easy. Marriage is not easy. And if it reaches at that point, I'm telling you, you will live a hell. You will be like, I wish I knew. I wish I was not married. But you have already locked yourself with that marriage certificate. You are just there to be. So if you're not going to open your eyes, if you're not going to do anything for yourself, because when you are married to somebody who is working, who is stable, I am telling you, you will see fire. You will see a blackout in front of you. My brother came to talk to me some time back, and they were like, Charlotte, the life you're living, it's not right. I'm telling you, I'm not recognized, because even a family member dies, maybe my brother or my sister or my mother or my father, that is when maybe somebody will be, oh, you can go. Or if you have your own money, you can go for that one. But let me tell you something. So many people have died. I've not been able to forgive. I've not been able to involve myself with my family. In fact, I was forbidden. One time I was forbidden not to involve myself with my own family. So you can imagine how powerful a narcissist can be and control your life properly without knowing. You are there, but you don't know what is happening. You can only simply, maybe you have woken up, you don't have any money, you're called. Do you know there is this and this happening? And you're just there. You don't have even a single sense. It's him to give you the money or not. So it is a choice. So if you allow to live that kind of a life, my friend, you will see fire. This is not a joke. Get it right. It is not a joke. You might be desperately need a husband, but don't rush. Don't rush. This is an advice I was given. I don't want to mention that. I don't want to mention who gave me that advice, but he gave me that, and I told him, please. You know you are getting married to somebody who is older than you. You don't know him. You know nothing about him. So please take a break. Take your time to know who he is. Don't rush. You might rush and find yourself in fire. Yes, you might rush, find yourself in fire. That is exactly what I did. But look at me. Because what I know, he knew how to hide this, to make sure I was in her box first. By the time he came to remove his nails, he came to show me his true colors, it was too late for me. Because I used to be very humble. I used to be a very loving mother to those two kids. Because I remember I gave birth after 6 to 7 years of my marriage. I didn't get a child immediately. It took me time to get a baby. But I really appreciate it because I was already having some hell in my life because I didn't have a child. Anyway, guys, life with a narcissist sometimes. I think I've told you almost 4 characteristics of this people. They do not want you to grow. They do not want you to see there while they are still down here. Second, they will always accuse you of things you didn't do it. And they will always be there, very harsh, ready to do anything to harm you. Third, you will always be talking to yourself. While you are thinking you are talking to your husband, or you are talking to somebody close to you, who you think he can at least help you while you be talking to yourself. So those thoughts, they'll always remain here. They'll just remain asking you, oh, so what do you do? So how? What was the plan? Remember, you had already planned, you had already talked about it. Let me say maybe an example of maybe you want to build a house, so you are planning to save so that you can go do that work. You need to make your work easier through the salaries. So maybe you save for 5 months. He will always be asking, what did we say? Hi, nonsense questions. While you sat down that day, maybe you talked about it, you explained everything, so we should start with this. And at the end of the day, it will remain with you only. For him, it will be just asking somebody questions. The fourth one, I can't remember it, but I know. Accusement. Accusement will be there throughout in your life. So be ready to face accusement. Yes, you might be somebody who are outgoing every time. Like, I like going to church. I like doing things on my own, my business. So when you come back, you'll be like, you know what? I know you're coming from somebody, from this guy. Remember, you know very well where you are coming from. But for him, you are coming from somewhere else. So guys, sometimes it's funny because he can even tell you, somebody has called me and told me that your wife is just for nothing, accusement for nothing. So you just need to be careful, because these are the things that you will live with them in your life. So it's very serious, even if I'm laughing, but it is very serious, because these are the things I've faced in my life, and I am sure about it. So even if he comes up right now with his funny things, sometimes I always sit down and think first before I answer that question, or I talk about it, because it has come to my mind that nowadays you don't need just to talk, you need to think before you talk. I need to, before you do anything, think twice before you do it, because the only thing that it is in their mind, a narcissist person, he just want to hurt you. That is what I can see. He just want to hurt you. He doesn't want to see you happy, or maybe you're doing your own things happily. No, he doesn't want to see that. He wants to see you are always down on your knees, begging him. You see such things, and you'll be very happy about it. And he might not even give you anything. They don't even forget. They don't even forgive. They don't forget and they don't forgive, because those things are always running in their mind. So tell me, how will you take it? It's a bit difficult anyway, but I am used to this life until now. People will always say, I'm sure, Sharlet, you're the only person who can take care of that guy. And remember, he's a very sick person, because he has been sick for 9 years now, since I gave birth to my son. He has been always in and out of the hospital, and I've been always there for him. But if you hear whatever he always say, he'd be like, ha, these are wonders and wonders shall never end. So you just take it like that. By the way, at first I was like, what is this guy talking about? I didn't take it seriously. That is how it started. I didn't take it seriously completely. I was like, maybe the mind is not okay. Maybe he's getting mad, something like that. But believe me or not, things became worse. And I had to think, now how am I going to handle this? So is it true that whatever he's telling me, is it true? Or what is happening? You know, I had to ask so many questions about it because I was like, no, what is this? I remember one day, he wakes up early in the morning and he was like, you know, you Charlotte, I've been telling you this, but you've never taken me seriously. And I was like, what? What is it? He was like, no, I want to know, what is it? Maybe I will take it serious. Just I've been telling you to cut link with your family, but you don't want to hear. I was like, what? To cut link? What do you mean by to cut link? So I didn't understand actually, because whenever I used to ask him, he was not telling me the correct. He was not telling me the truth. He would take me around like this, go, come back, but he will never tell you the exact thing. So that quarrel grows in his heart for some time until he started to beat me. That is when I came to realize, oh, so this is very serious. You can imagine for that long. I never took it serious until people came to my house to question him, and that is when it now had to be in my mind. So what is happening is now the truth about my life. Sometimes he can even make, you know what, I've seen this, and this in my dreams. So can you tell me how many sisters do you have? You just ask you a question like that. How many sisters do you have? You just take it easy. You answer as simple as that. But then at the end of the day, do you know it will be like fire in your house? You've lit that fire on you. So it was like, no, I didn't know anything. I was in the dark. Actually, I was in the dark. And I thank God because God gave me that, how do I call it in English? Hekima. Just me hekima. Because if I had to realize it earlier than that, I don't know what it could happen, but I'm not sure if I could have taken it the way it was. Maybe I could have already gone. I could have done maybe bad things and leave the house, because it was not a small thing. For him, he really took time. It really took time to start asking me so many questions. I remember there is one day also I traveled. When I came back, we didn't find our car because we used to have plats. So the plats was already sold. We didn't know how. It just disappeared like that. So my son was like, Mama, I didn't see our car at the back. What? Are you sure? Let's go and check it. We went back and checked it again. Believe me or not, the car was not there. So I was like, no, things are that serious. But the funniest thing is that I didn't take things that serious the way he was taking them. And that is how fight has taken me to this, because I really wanted to understand. I really wanted to know what is going on. That was what is running in my mind. I couldn't just decide things on my own. On a serious note, that is how it was. Because if I was really in a rush, I could reacted very badly. But you see, I took those things away in a manner that I wanted to know more. I wanted to know what is happening, what is really going on in my house. And that is how I came to find out that my husband was a narcissist. That is exactly how I came to find out, because I had so many questions. My mind was running up and down. My heart was like, is this real, or am I dreaming? Am I living the real life, or what is it? Because if you see yourself, you're not moving, you are stagnant, you don't know what is happening, you're just seeing things upside down, you don't understand anything. I'm telling you, you'll be like, God, what is this? What is happening? You'll be asking yourself so many questions without answers. So guys, this is my advice. You might be one of those people who are suffering like the way I'm suffering, because right now I have a big problem in my house, because I've been I was told yesterday, just yesterday, that I'm the, how do I call this, I'm the person who's bringing downfall in this house. How you can imagine, I'm the one who's bringing those downfall in this house. Not even for this house, but for my husband. Now tell me if you are the one who's been told such a thing. And remember, we are far. We have done a lot. But according to him, I don't know. I don't know what is happening. He gets a good salary. He can save even 30,000 a month. He can do so many things. But do you know what? Since he doesn't want you to know what is going on outside there, he does things outside there. After doing all those things outside there, and realize that I've messed up, and this is how my wife wanted, believe me or not, you'll be the accused of that mess. That mess which you don't even know about it, how it happened. Okay? It might come to your mind that I know this is how my husband is, but whenever he messed up, he'll come back to you and accuse you. It is you who did this and this and that. So you end up being accused every day of your life. Every day of your life. You're just there. So, my dear ones, for those who are interested to get married, be ready to handle such things. If you see a man who has been married to so many wives and none of them is there, put a question mark. Put a question mark. You know nothing about him, put a question mark. Try to find out what happened. What is going on? He might be a very looking good guy, but you don't know what is inside him. So be careful. By the time you come to realize, it will be too late for you. You know, a funny thing is nowadays I always find these small guys breaking women's family, somebody's family, just like that. But they don't know what they're giving themselves. But they don't know the outcome. Maybe because of money, or they're interested. Most of them, I know, what they want is good life. But what I know, we just need to be very careful. for when it will be killed. Because if you have an old person, like I got married to somebody who is older than remember, he can convince you anything and you'll accept it without knowing, because you won't be able to think twice, and you will say, my husband is well off. I'm telling you, not well off. Maybe you never even see it. So be careful. They have that tongue of convincing people. They know very well. He can really confuse you, and you will be able to accept each and everything they're telling you. But at the end of the day, you will end up crying. So, guys, this is just a free advice. Anyway, I've started earlier. My name is Sharlet Kahindi. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and share. Another thing, if you have a friend, please share with them in my video. Maybe they need advice I've given you for free. This is for free. And for those who are new in my YouTube channel, guys, karibuni sana. Jesus Christ, what is all this? Karibuni sana. Just subscribe, like and share. I need you. I need your support, because I know you can support me. I need to reach somewhere. But since you are there, you can support me and you can help me in this. So guys, karibuni, karibuni, karibuni on YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and share. Remember, this is the end of my video. And see you in the next video.